with the CCIW tournament coming up this weekend. I'm here with Elmhurst men's basketball coach John Baines. And coach, a tough loss on Saturday. Illinois Wesleyan really, they came out firing in a game that they really needed to win in order to get in the conference tournament, and they did. So they seem like they played their best defensive half really of the entire year in that first half. What was the difference from the first matchup, which was a couple of months ago?
Sure, I think both ends of the floor we did not perform real well, and Wesleyan did. They shot the ball really well, which that's what they do. I knew that they could shoot it defensively. They guarded us really well, and we just kind of went cold. We only made 1 3 in the first half and shot 25%, and I think we tried to recover a little bit in the second half, but we were down 15 at half, so it was just I think it was just a little insurmountable.
The conference released their all-conference teams, and Elmhurst very well represented with one on each of the three teams. And we'll start with the first teamer in Kyle Wiest. We know he can score; he's the leading scorer on the team. But what does he do besides that makes him so effective?
Well, he's our leading assist guy, and he's a 2-year captain, and he's very vocal on the court. And he's just got a really good pulse. He's got a lot of enthusiasm, and he keeps our guys going. And so I think most of the coaches realize that the success of our team has a large part to do with him because he's a scorer, he's a good passer, and he's also a very good rebounder for a guard. He just does a lot of things for us.
And then on the second team, Will Nixon, and the stats may not show how much of an impact he has on the floor as well. Similar with Wiest's points, Nixon averaging almost 10 points and about 7 boards per game and maybe 1.5 blocks. But beyond the score sheet, what does he bring?
Well, that's one I definitely think the coaches just recognize his importance to the team. He was a second-team All-League player last year, and he brings an element of rebounding for us. He's a great shot blocker. He's actually third in the league in field goal percentage. So he's just a really efficient player. And the thing I think when we talked to coaches, I said, we would not be the type of team we are without Will Nixon. I said he just brings a level of athleticism. He can guard a guy by himself without having to have any help. And so I think it was really well deserved. I'm glad to see that it's not just a statistical award, that it's more of an award of a guy that's a selfless teammate on a winning team that does a lot of the other things.
Then Eric Crittenden, a third-team selection. Last but not least, Crittenden really took on a role this year of being big in big moments, hitting the game-winning shot against Alma with the tip, and then getting the game-tying shot against North Park, getting 4 points in overtime against Augustana. So how has he grown into that kind of a role?
I think that's exactly what you said for Crit. It's just sometimes a mental thing. He's got an unbelievable amount of ability. He's a good scorer. He's a very good rebounder. He's just a really hard matchup for teams. Sometimes he might be the best defender on himself, and so I think those big moments tend to focus him a little bit. And in those types, he really, that's when his talent shines. And so I had a great year. He moved into the starting lineup this year, and coming out of the summer, we knew that his game had really changed, and so I was glad to see he got recognized for that.
Next up comes North Central after just one game. It's only been one game since the Blue Jays and the Cardinals played. It'll be 13 days between games, and the two toughest offensive games in terms of field goal percentage for you have been against the Cardinals. So what's the key to turning that around offensively?
They're a very underrated defensive team. North Central has always been a very good offensive team. Coach Reardon is one of the best. But I think from a defensive standpoint, they're very underrated. They switch a lot of screens, and they've got the personnel to do so. They've got a point guard that keeps the ball out of the lane, and they've got a center that can block a shot. So I think for us, it's finding some different ways for us to get into our stuff, and then we got to just have guys perform. I think we had some open looks in the second time we played them. Didn't knock them down, and we got to finish around the rim. I think it'll be a very physical game, and I think if we knock down some shots, we'll be right there.
No team has defeated the Blue Jays when they've scored 75 or less points this year. North Central scored 80 and 79 in the two matchups. How do you get them under that 75 mark?
I didn't think we did a poor job defending them the second time. The first time I did. The second time, I think we pressed a little bit towards the end. we had to press a little bit and to foul. I think we probably, in a normal situation, probably hold them in the low 70s. And, the magic number always is 75. If you can find a way to score 75, you got a good chance to win. And so I think for us, we're trying offensively to do that. And defensively, I think we'll throw a couple wrinkles in and see if we can keep them in the high 60s. I think we got a good shot.
Well, congrats on the postseason awards for your players, and good luck in the CCIW tournament on Friday and hopefully Saturday as well.
I appreciate it.